Good evening and welcome to Experience Bar, where we turn video games into cocktails. My name is Jack and I'll be showing you how to chase romance with this love potion inspired by The Sims. So, love potions as a concept are kind of gross, right? You make someone drink this magical bubbling elixir and they fall in love with you. It's kind of yuck, but in a game like The Sims, which is entirely about playing with people's emotions and making them do what you want, it kind of gets a pass. At least you're not removing pool ladders and watching people drown. Love potions have had a lot of representation among The Sims games. You know, they had the first one, I think, in a DLC for the original one. There was a version in The Sims 2, and The Sims 4 has a love potion that you can make through the mixology skill tree. We're kind of going with a little bit of creative license and combining them all into one with this particular recipe. But that's enough talking about it. Let's get loved up. Alright, so for this drink, we're going to get the traditionally charged shaker filled with ice. We're going to go for an ounce of French brandy. Use cognac if you can get it. And follow that up with an ounce of Aperol and half an ounce of cherry brandy. You will also need some egg white, egg white of a single small egg, but don't add it just yet. We're going to give this a good old-fashioned shake. Now then, because we don't have a sink on set, I'm going to be transferring this ice out into a bunch of different vessels. All you need to do is get rid of the ice out of your shaker somehow, but bear with me while we go through this. Okay, right, we are there. Just gonna chuck this into here. This is the point at which you add your egg white, okay? Chuck it on in there. If you don't want to use egg white because you are vegan or you just don't like the idea of using raw egg in your drinks, you can use aquafaba instead, which is the juice that you get out of those cans of chickpeas. So you can feel free to use that. Use it in about the same amount as well. And we are going to give this another very good shake for about 30 seconds to a minute. It's a good workout. It's got that going for it. Because, you know, if you're going to be making a romantic drink for someone, you want to be taking care of yourself before you take care of somebody else, you know? There we go. Bit of splatter there. It is a bit of a splash zone over here. So, grab a goblet. If you've got a martini glass instead, like a 3-ounce martini glass, you can use that. Just make sure that you don't fill it all the way to the top because you will get a bit of foam coming out otherwise. And there's nothing less skillful, less romantic than getting your drink all over the table. And strain it on in. Lovely. Now, also don't be tempted to just chuck this in without a strainer. You're not trying to strain out the ice because obviously there is no ice, but it helps keep the foam nice and smooth. Otherwise you get these big old bubbles which do not look good. And for our final trick, there is a cute little garnish, right? I'll show you how to make this in a piece of social. You head on over to our Instagram or our Facebook or our Twitter. There you have it. That is the love potion from The Sims. And I feel like I'm in need of some loving, so cheers. Now that is a drink that's going to make you say woohoo, right? The Sims is a game that I play weeks at a time and then don't touch it for months. And then weeks at a time, and then don't touch it for months. It's a never-ending cycle. I feel like it's because once you play for a week or two, you kind of got everything that your Sims could ever want. By that point, they've got all the money and all the land and all the friends and all the family that you could ever need. And as a result, the game gets a little bit boring, gets a bit repetitive. For someone like me, at least, who plays to win these kinds of games. But The Sims doesn't have a win condition, unless you make one. Which is how I always play. I always play legacy games, which, if you aren't sure, in The Sims 3 at least, it would be you make a single person household, you go and buy the most expensive empty lot that they can afford, and then you go from there. They can't afford anything because they've spent all their money on the land. I know us millennials can probably feel for that, but they have to be able to go to the gym to shower, and they have to go to the park to sleep on the benches there. Eventually, because The Sims being the way it is, they get enough money to live, essentially, and build up a house, build up a family and all that. That's how I like to play, but a lot of other people prefer to make games that are based around dramas, based around creating stories between the various people in their neighborhood. A lot of those people like to cause drama with these. Love potions in the game, you sip them and they make you flirty or they make you fall in love with someone. I would hope that they taste something like this, because they're a little bit sweet, they're a little bit bitter, and they're ultimately perfect for before or after a dinner. The brandy brings that kind of blush to your cheeks with a bit of alcohol heat. The cherry brandy acts as an aphrodisiac. And the Aperol, well, that's just in there because it tastes good, okay? Not everything has to fit. Finally, you got the egg white. And the egg white has a couple of functions. It creates this lovely foam, so it looks pretty. The foam, as the bubbles burst, you get quite a lot of smell, which is perfect pairing with Aperol, which is a very aromatic drink. And it also makes the rest of the drink down here, makes it very full-bodied and thick. It's very enjoyable in that regard, thick. But yeah, that is it. That is the love potion from The Sims. I hope you guys have enjoyed yourself. If you like what we're doing here, give us a like and a subscribe. Head over to our socials for some additional content, including tutorials on how to make things like the garnish you saw earlier. And if you want to support the show directly, please head over to our Patreon. We've got some extra stuff in there, including a D&D recipe book, which you can't find anywhere else. I hope to see you there, but until then, don't forget to love each other. Cheers.